Are we live? All right, I think we're live. Welcome to episode 1 of the No Thumbs podcast, the pilot. I'm your host, Swifty7. And join with me today is Ice Sniper.
How we doing, guys?
And this is a new podcast to LG. It's a branch of Prolific Virtual Media, PVM. I'm sure you guys have all seen it around, PVM on the articles. Maybe you've seen Jet's introduction. But we're the first show to kick off. You know, we're a little bit antsy right now because, we're trying to get things going here. Things have been accelerated. So let's introduce you to what we're doing here. So what is the No Thumbs podcast? It's going to focus on LG, CHL. They're obviously we're that's our key demographic. And, we're going to talk about the teams, the standings, the players. We want to focus on that. We want to stay away from, material like bogs and bands and, we'll talk maybe
stuff.
Yeah, maybe we'll talk about it. But primarily we want to focus on, the things that are actually happening in LG. And that's incredibly important. We want to focus on the games played. We're going to be unfiltered, unedited. We're not going to take turns. We'll let each other talk, but if somebody says something it's just ludicrous, I got to cut in. If somebody's delusional, you should cut in and you should stand up for your take. So
Moncton sucks.
Okay.
Just kidding.
Yeah, take a lap, buddy. But So basically, it's going to be more of a debate, opinionative show. It's opinions. I don't really care if you get hurt over my opinion. It's an opinion. You guys got your own. And to be honest with you, your opinion is the only thing that should matter. If you believe you're the best goalie in LG, then I hope you support that. And if you believe that, you believe that. So in the future, I definitely want to cover live events. I think it would be interesting to cover, say, the LG CHL draft. Like last season would have been a great time to start. When you had, for instance, Damon Betty going 2 and 3 or whatever.
God.
Imagine covering that live. That would provide you
man.
with hours of content, and just to see the reaction from people and for it to pour in. That would have been.
Form was the best coming out of that. That was unreal. Just the reaction from the entire draft. Woof.
Yeah, so that would have been something to behold. LGCHL bidding. I want to cover that. I think it'd be really interesting to see, the inner workings of maybe what people are thinking. Bids and have seeing oh shoot, there's a $5 million bid on, I don't know, J Claus. J Claus is in CHL bidding. Oh shoot, he's already at 10 mil. That'd be interesting to cover. And when you see certain players that don't have good records go for a high amount of money, then Ice Sniper, for instance, we can sit there and comment on it. We're gonna try doing this on a weekly basis. Like I said, there's that the PowerPoint's wrong, but it's 9:30, not 9. I forgot to change it. Well, there's our first error of the show. It's bound to happen. Thought I'd be more on top of it, but it's okay. I want to cover the trade deadline final hour live. It'd be nice to see all those trades being pushed through. We won't do it this season, but next season in the future. This episode, we're just testing to see how things go. LGCHL playoffs, at weeks 1 through 5. So you guys would be getting a fair amount of content from us weekly. And yeah, every Thursday, 9:30. So that's what we're gonna aim for.
Yeah, and also we're gonna try to bring on a guest as well. Every week. So we're gonna do our best to bring a third person in, but it's not always gonna be guaranteed. So Yeah, if you know somebody that that would be insightful to
Yeah.
bring into our show, by all means,
Uh,
give us a
we've
shout.
we've within PVM we announced it, and we had a lot of people wanting to come on the show.
Yeah,
We definitely do plan on having weekly guests. It's
yeah,
something we definitely wanna look at, and maybe next week we'll have a guest. We'll see. To wrap
see how
up the
things
trade
go.
deadline, maybe have a manager, maybe a bog. You never know. Just to get people's different perspective. We want to keep it entertaining. You guys are gonna get tired listening to my fucking voice and Ice Sniper over here, so
Oh yeah,
we want
so
to bring
yeah,
in somebody else with hot takes that, you know, that could throw it down on the table and keep things interesting. So
or
let's
give us something on the DL that we don't know about.
so
You
let's
never
move
know.
let's move forward here and introduce who we are. It's a pilot episode, so it's gonna take a while to get to the content. So let's introduce who we are. Uh, so I'm Swifty7. Everybody knows who I am. I hope, maybe not. So I love Rob Ford. He was the best mayor. I'm from Toronto. Best mayor we've ever had. He got things done and he had fun while doing it on the side. Guy had a great personal life, and he definitely he had a great personal life and political life, but in the media he was not loved, but I love him and I hope all of you do. I'm known for my miracle run, Moncton Wildcats. Definitely great time of my life. I got really lucky with some of the RAs I got, and I managed to put it all together and get the right pieces in place. So that's what I was known for. That's when I became more of a figure. I won World Junior Gold. I don't know if anybody cares about that. And I won Saturday Night Puck. Very proud of both of those things. I also won silver, but it's not worth mentioning. I owned the team. Undeserving season 30 All-Star. Yeah.
I've yet to receive some hardware on that.
Okay, I didn't want to bring that up, but no. Didn't get my All-Star award yet, but whatever. um, definitely I had a good season once, and I tricked my other management back in the day. Management vote on who got. It wasn't like an LG vote. It was more of just management. So yeah, I tricked my management peers into voting me in. I have an extremely bad AHL NHL record, very bad. I had some unfortunate luck, but what are you gonna do? And I am a local shitter. And that's who I am. And next up, we're going to go with Ice Sniper. Would you like to introduce yourself, Ice Sniper?
Yeah, well, everyone, I'm Ice. Basically, what I'm known for, having negative 67 season 30 with none other than Swifty's Moncton Wildcats before he took over. So that was a very, very rough season, to say the least. Believe it or not, though, going forward, when we compare AHL and NHL records, I sadly have a better NHL record than my AHL record. It's yeah, not very positive to look at, to say the least.
All good.
I mean, I haven't even hit double digits in the win column yet, so yeah.
Just to touch back on the minus 67, you won the green jacket, buddy. Congratulations. When's your presentation happening?
I'm still waiting on that one. I don't know.
It's just like me. I haven't got my season 30 award, but you haven't got your green jacket. You won the Masters, man. Good job.
Yeah.
Tiger over here.
Hey,
97.
whoever's gonna send me out the jacket, make sure they get my left arm a little bit longer, because it's my little right arm is actually shorter than the other, so make sure you get the size right.
Yeah.
And actually, going to the doghouse, touching on that, I was actually a front runner for the Glad Award, but lost out to the Snipe Show. But you can't.
It's not a podcast without a Snipe Show reference.
Oh no. I mean, when the doghouse was bringing out some great guests, I got a lot of shit for being on that show, just for whatever reason. I don't know why, but Snipe Show just stole the show and ran away with it. So very deserving.
Everybody knows Snipe Show.
Oh yeah. And myself, I'm part of the player development committee for LG.
Maybe you want to expand on what that is exactly for people.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And for those who are just brand new to LG, basically what our mission is, we all know that LG is a very, very large league, and what we do is we put on TC games, and those games are designed to allow new players or players who have not gotten an opportunity to showcase their talent, and we try to showcase that on Twitch, so potential owners can see what's out there, and maybe they're missing out on something that's in their TC development. And That's our whole goal. And, going forward to that, we've put over about 50 games this season, so we're very proud of what we've done so far.
You should be. That's something, in the past there hasn't really been that much presence, and you guys have took over and done an amazing job. You guys deserve some credit. We're not a bashing show. We're more of a support show, We love people. Anyways.
Yeah. And, if there's TCs out there that want to learn more, by all means, reach out to me or reach out to our staff members. I'll be more than willing to see if we can get you guys some games and help you guys out. But moving forth, I am a CHL suitcase. I have probably been traded to almost every Q team in the Q.
Damn.
And I've been traded 4 times this season. I started with the Olympics, got traded to Miranda, went to Saginaw, then I went to the Valdorix, and now I'm in Sherbrooke as of now. I don't know how all that happened, but that might have something to do with the fact I have a $4 million contract, which I know my ass ain't worth.
Oh, yeah.
So,
oh, yeah. Look, this season, bidding happened, but just to touch on it, there's a lot of contracts that were handed out that people probably regret, but when you have 76 teams and you have an expansion with 16 more teams, people get desperate, and they stick to what they know, and they bid on what they know, and they knew you, and a lot of people know you, so... Well, that's why I was afraid to go into CHL bidding, because a lot of people know me, and I didn't want the number to get out of control. But
yeah, well, I mean, it probably also didn't help the fact that I'm a very rare defenseman that can actually play left and right side very equally well. So that's probably another dividing factor. Moving on to that, I actually lost a bet to somebody here in LG. I forget his name. He also has Ice in his name, but. I think this bet happened it's been about a good solid year, and I've yet to change my gamer tag after losing that bet when I
now you're branded as Ice Sniper, so you basically you gotta do Ice Sniper maybe 25, 24.
I'm keeping the logo at the very least, because look at that awesomeness.
Maybe you can go picture. Like the Snipe Show, the Ice Sniper.
I was thinking more like Ice Tech, because I work at an Ice Tech. I actually work at an ice rink for a living. I work at a facility that has 8 ice rinks in one building, so a little play on words there. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Anyways, let's move forward here, and we introduced who we are, and now let's get going here and start talking about some CHL hockey. Let's look at the CHL standings. It's been a crazy season so far. A lot has happened.
Absolutely.
A lot of turnover, a lot of changes, and we're going to see how that has affected the standings. So we're going to start with the Q. Ice Sniper, the Sherbrooke Phoenix, did you think that they were going to be this good this season in first place?
Starting out in the season when I was with Gatineau, they kind of had a soft start, and they've really found a way to turn it on. I was really not expecting, especially now with me being on that team, I was not expecting us to be sitting at the top where we are right now. The team in general, it's had its struggles, but we've been turning on as of last night, but I'm very surprised how well this team has performed, all aspects. Defense has been very strong. Offense has been really picking up lately, and we just got some strong goaltending. So absolutely very surprised what's happened.
Yeah. If I didn't really expect the Phoenix to be number 1, obviously. In my power rankings, I like, if you remember, if you guys clicked on my preseason power rankings, I had Boogie number 1, and it's kind of shocking to me to see him number 5 right now, but he's going to turn it on soon. But I knew Pete. I knew Pete before the season. I had faith that he'd build a good team, a competitive team, and a team that can come out of the queue. I just expected Boogie to power forward like he usually does, and maybe pick up another 110-point season, maybe even higher, because he had all those returning 2-year deals. But no, did I expect Sherbrooke to be number 1? Nope. Did I expect him to have a good season? Absolutely. So good job on you so far, Pete. You've done a good job.
Absolutely. I mean, while we're talking about in the queue, who's been the most disappointing team for you so far? I mean, so far I've been disappointed with the Huskies. Not because I'm saying this because I used to play for them, but this was a team that got a really hot start, And as you could tell by look at the standings, they've dropped
Well,
significantly. This was the #1 team in the queue for the first few weeks, and now they're sitting in the 8th seed, which
well,
I was very surprised.
well. Okay, you can attribute that to one thing, and that's Murder Boy's amount of turnover. I don't know. Like, I look at some of the players. He has good players. Don't get me wrong. Every player on that team is good. I just don't think that much turnover is good for you, because
Absolutely.
you do not have time to develop chemistry. And I can't tell you how much he practices. I honestly don't know. I don't know if they
He
practice.
plays pretty frequently.
If they play frequently,
yeah,
then maybe they can get it on track. But
yeah,
they're off the rails a little bit, and
yeah.
the amount of turnover doesn't help. So
Well, the amount of trades they've
I
made,
wouldn't, if I
even
was him, I wouldn't be making that many trades at the deadline here, unless you're bringing in somebody that can change a game by himself. But
right.
I'm standing pat a little bit. That's for later on in the show. But
Yeah.
definitely, I think they just need to play more.
I think they need to just lay it off a little bit, just give it time, because when you have a team that has such a hot start, then all of a sudden you just blow it up this late in the season, it can really hurt your chances going into the playoffs.
Right.
But unless they can find some key players, in the shopping spree this weekend, the trade deadline, who knows? He might find what he needs to make that push deep in the playoffs. But we'll see what happens.
Look, another, to get off topic bit here. Another, well, to stay on topic, I don't know. But another team that's really surprised me, I'm not gonna lie, straight up, Charlottetown. I expected them to be fighting with Boogie, because Sprangy's a veteran manager. He's been around the block. He's definitely built first place teams. I'm just a little shocked where they are. I understand, like, their division's very tough, like, and it's eating them alive right now. But I definitely expected them to do a bit better. And hey, they're turning it on the last couple of weeks. From where they were to where they are now, they've definitely turned it on. They're probably going to make a big charge up the standings coming up here. But to see them at 10th right now, that's a little surprising. Yeah, it's definitely surprising, considering what Sprangy brings to the table. Also, to change topic a little bit here, is there anybody you see right now in the QMJHL that can potentially come out that's a dark horse? Somebody that you wouldn't expect?
I mean, of all the teams I've seen so far, originally speaking, I will say this right now. Steel City, who runs Cape Breton, I was with the Moncton Wildcats a few seasons ago with Big Papa Cool. We had that season where I went -67.
Ooh.
He was our goalkeeper. And at the time, it was being ran by Pete Cruz. Pete had left for personal reasons.
Oh, yeah.
And Steel City took over. And, and I didn't really expect him to really build a team. Now it's almost 2 seasons later. This guy now is building a very good squad. And, from what I have seen and how his team has played, this is a team that, I could see being a dark horse. I'm not convinced on being a Mim Cup type of dark horse.
Right.
But I definitely think this is a team that could definitely do some damage going into the playoffs, especially in the early rounds where it might surprise some teams. Who knows? I mean, it's too early to say.
Yeah.
With Steel City, his experience in playoffs, but the way he has played, the way his team has performed, I feel like this is a team that could really surprise some people going into the playoffs.
Are they a dark horse at number 3 though? That's
at number 3. Hear me out on this. The reason why I say this is because there's not a lot of history with Steel City in terms of playoff performance.
I get it. I get it. But
yeah, I mean, this is like
they're not surprising anybody. I wouldn't say if I match up against them, they're tough. They're going to be a tough out.
Yeah,
they're going to be a tough out. It's just.
I mean, it would be like the Florida Panthers, as a top 3 seed in the East. And all of a sudden, they, make a really deep playoff push and make it to the finals. Kind of like how, when they first arrived into the NHL, when they went to the finals against the Colorado Avalanche, losing in 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. But moving on, let's, I think in the dub, that's going to be a very interesting division, going forward to that. So why don't we take a look and see how the dub is doing?
It's the OHL next.
Oh, the OHL.
Yeah.
My bad.
I think I put it so we just finished the Q. Now we're looking at the O. Next will be the W, and then we'll look at the ECHL. Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
So once again, Hamilton, Flint. Did you expect them to be where they are today?
Flint, with Roland J, the longtime owner for the Flint Firebirds, I mean, to no surprise, this is a team that, that's continued to produce results. But again, we all know the story with Flint going into the playoffs. But with Hamilton, with that management group, it is kind of a surprise. But at the same time,
I'm 100% shocked about Hamilton. I'm not going to lie. I did not expect where they are. Congratulations to Ricky and
absolutely
Ben
to them.
Dude, they put in a program there. They have a regiment, and they've been surprising everybody. I don't think you can say coming into the season they're going to be number one. That's a shock, absolute shock.
Absolutely. This is a team that, I think, we'll see how they do in playoffs. This
that's
is like
where
what
it's
I was
going to
saying.
be tested.
That's what I'm saying. And that's another comparison I was making with Kate Breton back in the Q. This is a team that, with that management group, we have never really seen do anything in the playoffs. But to come out as a number one seed for Hamilton, an absolute huge surprise, now looking at it. And then, looking at Nutty Grandpa sitting there at the second seed, in the OHL West, Nutty Grandpa, again, really, really putting it on late in the season and making some improvements. So is this a team that we could see potentially, see very late in the playoffs, maybe a Mem Cup? I mean, is this a team we could see get over the hump? Who knows?
Is there any surprising, like anything surprising about the standings right now that you look at it and you say, I did not see that coming?
I will say this with Niagara. I played with El Mackey last season, and I'm very disappointed where they stand right now. This is he put it on some great teams. He knocked my team out with the Barrie Colts last season, and we took them to a Game 7. This is a team I feel like that could perform.
Honestly, I get where you're trying to get at there, but like 30 and 20, 32 and 20 and 2.
Yeah,
like,
it is a
that
tight
really
race.
that disappointing? I
feel like though, but like the games they have lost though, to whom they
if you look at the balance, but if you look at the balance though, if you look at the East and the West clearly is weaker, but the East,
no question,
100%, the East is definitely the tighter race, and Mackey is up on the Frontenacs by over 10 points, so
right.
He's locked in at 6. He's going to be battling with the battalion for 5. Maybe if they have a good couple of weeks and the Wolves fall off a bit, they can move up. So I wouldn't really necessarily say the Ice Dogs are disappointing. It's just their circumstance is not the greatest. Kind of like Charlottetown from the last segment, but
Yeah. And the other thing too is, look, with Niagara too, they had a really rough start too. They've lost to the Windsor Spitfires, Snipe Show's team. They lost some very key games very early on. So as of late, they have found a way to turn around. They had a very good week last week. They kind of had a bumpy week this week, with, losing to Saginaw, the worst team in the OHL. With that record of 7 and with that 7 wins, and that's not something you would expect out of a team like El Mackey. So I mean, everyone's just gotta figure it out going into the playoffs. So we'll see how it turns out for the Ice Dogs. But I feel like I have some expectations for them going to the playoffs though.
So there's a few things I want to touch on quickly just before we move on. The Sudbury Wolves. Also, congratulations to ADOTS, man. He's built a great team.
Absolutely.
I'm happy. He's a good redemption story from last season. He's up there in 4th. Yeah. He's fighting to get higher in the standings. I'm pretty happy to see that. I'm happy he came back. Same
absolutely.
With the 67s. And that I feel bad for Anth. He's been handed a tough hand, obviously
with the whole Doc Vanilla follow
the Doc Vanilla, and then the turnover, and then Romanoff, and then you got to pay respects there. He's done a hell of a job, but circumstance prevented him from continuing with the 67s, and I wish him the best. But Anth has been handed a tough hand, and now he's fighting for his life.
Absolutely.
I expected Sam Evelson to do better with the Steelheads.
Yeah, that's a disappointing season for them.
Also,
but they're not mathematically out yet. I mean, who knows? Maybe this trade deadline's what they need to find some key pieces to really give them that playoff position. And it's going to be an exciting last 2 weeks here going into it.
The Sting and Ekman Larson, he's built a good team. The last 2 seasons he's managed, he's built not the greatest teams. He's missed the playoffs in the Q, and then for some reason he went up to the AHL to manage there, and he didn't build a good team there. But now he's got some players. I would watch out for him in the playoffs.
Absolutely, too.
And looking down, just a touch. I feel bad for the Spirit management. You can't really do much there.
No,
but
you
also,
really can't.
They're kind of handed a tough deck to deal with.
Yeah.
And then finally, Snipe Show at the beginning of the season said, he was gonna win the Mem Cup. I don't know about that right now.
That? I mean,
well, he said, "Boys, I'm gonna win the Mem Cup," and it's like, okay, all right.
Well,
but
I've heard many teams say that. So how serious can you really?
We'll see,
take?
But maybe he's in a playoff spot, so maybe he can.
Absolutely,
do it, right?
It'd be the second time him as a management going into the playoffs. So,
but let's move forward to the league you're most excited about, the WHL.
Oh, yes. So this is a very interesting and very, very competitive looking division.
Oh, yeah. The WHL is the best I think it's been in a while. I think.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely
absolutely. Last season was it wasn't much
greatest. But now
this season,
though,
is very interesting.
Yeah. So the Prince George Cougars and Regina Pats currently sit number 1 in their respective conferences. Any surprises there?
In the conference, here's a real surprise for me. I'm going to say this. Victoria Royals with Bootleggers and Shots by Ryan. This is a very surprising deal because at the beginning of the season, no one knew who either of these two guys were. They were career TC players. Shots by Ryan as a goaltender has been standing on his head.
Yeah,
and he's been winning some key victories that they need going in.
Yeah.
And not to mention, also with Shots by Ryan, he's been playing unbelievable hockey. And right now, they sit in an 8th seed playoff spot over the Silvertips.
Yeah, if you recall Revive Legacy's video, he had them really low.
Oh,
and
yeah.
To me, if you're new, you should have the benefit of the doubt, in my opinion.
It even focuses for him, too. He ranked them at a 0.5.
That's a little ludicrous.
I think so too, but
you never know.
Oh, you never know. And and looking at Shots by Ryan, I've played with him in other leagues, and this guy's a very good goalkeeper. And not to mention, he had a 36 save shutout over the Red Deer Rebels.
Oh yeah, no, I've seen him in scouting. Shot by Ryan can steal a game. He's got potential, man.
And that's what you need going into playoffs, And here's the craziest thing about that game. I even looked more into stats. They barely had 3 minutes of time on the attack, and he pulls a win that big out of his ass.
He's going to will him to the playoffs. He's going to will him to the playoffs. That's
the biggest surprise for me, out of the entire WHL. I mean,
well, for me personally, I thought the Red Deer Rebels were going to do better. And also, I did not think Oki Vision's Warriors would be last. And doing that bad, dead last.
I'm not at the least surprised with Oki Vision.
He look what he put on last season. He started to prove people wrong, and then he just reverts. Maybe he's one of those managers that's going to have one good season, one bad season.
If I recall, didn't he inherit a team? When a manager quit, I don't recall if he was the manager.
Yeah, I think he inherited a team back then when he
lost. Because I think this is his first time actually owning a team. For the entire season.
No. He owned last season.
No, I'm saying like going into bidding, like doing all that together. Because I think he inherited the team last season.
He did not. Not last season. If I recall correctly, it was with the Kitchener Rangers.
You're right. It was the Kitchener Rangers. You're absolutely right. Okay, yeah, that jogged my memory there for a minute.
Know the facts, Ice Sniper.
Oh, come on. That's what I got you to rely on. But
I don't know facts, man. This is just if I get something wrong here.
Yeah. But irrelevant to like whoever he had, but still, I'm not surprised, with Oki Vision. I mean, this is a guy that, can do something. He just hasn't found the right mixes to make the team, open up tenfold and make a playoff push. I mean,
Right.
it's just disappointing to see. But there's always next season. Hopefully he can learn from his mistakes. And
Well, if he comes back, you never know.
if he does, but if he does,
I hope
hopefully
he does. He shows up and he competes.
Yeah,
they show up.
It's always
and that's,
great.
Honestly, that's something to hold in a high regard when people show up. It's hard to find managers, and you know what?
It really is. It's tough.
There's 76 teams now, and I think there's going to be more next season because the ECHL hasn't fully expanded.
We have heard, we've heard talks that there might be another expansion to the East Coast, but
let's
we'll
wrap up the W here. Any dark horses? Anything you want to just touch on before we move on?
With the W as tight as it is, as competitive it is, for me, it's kind of hard to see who the dark horse really is going to be, because there's a lot of good teams out here, that can, really surprise you, just like, Victoria. So,
for me,
I don't know.
For me, I'm going to have to go with my boy Big Swag. I think he can do some work.
Prince Albert.
I think they'll do some work in the playoffs. They got the core from Barry last season that went on a little bit of a run. I think maybe he takes the next step this season.
I was a part of that management. Yeah, he does. He can make something happen.
Definitely.
So.
Regina's where I expected them to be. Oil Kings are where I expected them to be.
Yeah.
Blades roughly.
Right.
Everybody's roughly where I expected them to be.
I'm in the same boat.
The Winterhawks, they can go on a little bit of a run. I think they got a really good team. But maybe watch out for the Chiefs. They have a good solid core, and obviously you got to always watch out for Garbs, but Garbs just needs to stay awake.
That's a guy that can be a dream killer for anybody in the playoffs. So,
all right,
but
let's just move on now to the final league, ECHL. And here, everybody makes the playoffs, so congratulations for everybody for clinching a playoff spot and not even playing a single game.
I just need like a kazoo to go with that and some confetti.
Dude, I wish I was in this league, man. I don't even have to try. You can mail in the whole season.
Right, and we can't even give Jet shit for not making playoffs. I'm just kidding, Jet.
So you look at the two top teams, the Kansas City Mavericks and the Brampton Beast. What do you think about both of them?
The other night, when my boys with Sherpa, we played the Kansas City Mavericks, we beat them 4-0. Now, however, this is a team I think can do something. I don't think it's as competitive as everyone thinks it is, but it's a start. This is something that I think can grow, because we're starting to see TC players who, for the longest time, have been sitting down there rotting and not have a chance to prove themselves. Now we have the East Coast, and we're starting to see some teams that really show what they can really do with this opportunity in the East Coast. And with that, I think the Mavericks got the better end of the stick of, putting together a very good team. This is a team that, doesn't give up a lot of goals. I mean, look at that goal differential, 180 goals, and they haven't even allowed 100 goals yet this season.
That's unreal.
That is unreal. And now people would criticize saying, well, that's just because it's the East Coast and it's a shit league. Well, hold on a minute. Just because it's a different league, it's so new, you can't really criticize it yet. So I'm not 100% ready to mark them off my books yet. I think that we could definitely see something with this, not just this league, but some of these teams in the near future, if they can issue out the 2-season contracts and keep some of these core pieces into the next season and prepare themselves for playoffs the following season, because again, this is the very first season we've had a 4-league tier in the CHL, because the longest time it's been 3 seasons. So I'm really excited to see what happens. Brampton Beast, and you look at the Florida Everblades too.
Oh, Florida, that's gonna they're gonna go on. They're gonna do some damage, man.
Beauty needs to not get
banned.
Yeah.
For the love of God, Beauty, don't get banned. You'll go on a run. Trust me.
Right. And the other thing too is there have some teams in there that are doing good, but then there are some teams like management groups that went the OHL and the Dub, and they went straight for the CHL. Right. Some of these teams with that management group haven't really performed as to what I thought it would be, because we all know we know Jet, had that Memorial Cup team with the Brandon Wheat Kings. He now has the Allen Americans. right now,
well,
they're
it's not his team; it's Croxy's, to be fair.
Well, right,
but also, actually, I actually wanted to touch on the Allen Americans quickly.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think they're gonna be my sleeper team, 100%. I know Jet runs PVM, and you may think I'm a little biased, but to be honest, I'm not. I think they have a decent core. They're a team, when they go into the playoffs, they get possessed. Look at last season. Look at the season before that. Every team Jet runs, just they get possessed. Same with Croxy. He had a team that wasn't high in the standings. They just get possessed and they just go. So I expect Allen to come out. Like, you guys in the ECHL me being, oh, Swifty doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't play. But, like, to be honest with you, like, you got to look at history and you got to respect it. And that's what I'm trying to say. Just to quickly go back over the ECHL, is there anything else you wanted to touch on?
Well, the other thing I just wanted to touch really quick, I'm really excited to see what an ECHL team could do in the playoffs,
Right.
In fact, it's a bigger league now. We've got more teams that could, do something. And, like I said, there are some teams that have players that really have an opportunity to prove themselves. So I'm excited to see what they can bring to the table coming to the playoffs. So I don't know about you, but I think this is going to be a division to watch in the playoffs, come forth. And then we'll see who the champion will be coming out of this. I really think, this is just me personally, I think either it's going to be Florida or the Kansas City Mavericks that we're going to see come out on top, in the playoffs, going forth. Because, I played against that Mavericks team.
Yes.
We beat them, but this is a team that can move the puck well. They play smart defensively, and they've got great goaltending. Same thing with the Florida Everblades. They've got a great squad, too. I think they can also do something. So I could easily see the Mavericks and the Florida Everblades in the finals in the East Coast. So
yeah,
that's all for me. But I'm excited to see what's going to happen.
So for me, just quickly looking at the standings, Brampton, I just want to touch on you. You guys have a great program. You guys are really respectful in everything you do and your classy organization. I hope you guys continue to come back time and time again, because you're some of the classiest people and easiest to deal with, and any player in this league should want to play for that team. Orlando, I kind of expected them to do a little bit better. South Carolina, I'm very proud of what they've done. They have an above 500 record. If you remember last year, the management team, C. Ward and J. Nades, they ran the last place team in the entire league, and I had them last in my power rankings. And, maybe a change of scenery helps, but they've been doing well. Kansas City, I didn't expect them to be where they are. I'll just flat out say it.
That's a
good
shock.
job, and they surprised me. Toledo Walleye, they've undergone a lot of change, and you know what? There's been a few people over there that have remained consistent. Wizza, throwing. I'll even give some credit to FIFA too. He's done a good job in net for them. And I know I just stroked his ego, and I probably shouldn't have done that. But
you just opened up Pandora's box, man. I don't know if I would have done that.
Allen 100% is underperforming, but watch out come playoffs, they'll be ready. And
But can we just all agree on this though? Who has the best team in all of CHL? The Orlando Solar Bears jerseys.
Yes,
I think they have the most sickest jerseys. I mean,
they have some great jerseys.
How can you not want to play for a team that wears a fucking polar bear wearing sunglasses? How could you not want to play for a team with that kind of jersey?
All right, and I'm going to do something I probably shouldn't do in the first episode, but shout out to Palm Top Tiger. I think he wanted me to shout him out for the Norris, even though that doesn't exist.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, you need to do some research.
He's definitely not winning the Masters this season, that's for sure. He's got plus, I don't even know. He's doing well, so he wanted me to shout him out, so I guess I will. Yeah. I guess if you want me to shout you out during the podcast, send me a message and I'll do it, because I just did. Anyways, moving on to the trade deadline preview. So the trade deadline is this Sunday at 6 p.m. And next year we'll cover it live. But this season we're just going to focus on what team needs. And I will just preface by saying we prepared this a little earlier. We had this presentation done for you guys a little bit earlier, so there has been some turnover. But this is from a couple days ago. We actually expected trades to go through tonight around this time.
And there's been a few that have already gone through,
because
too.
Usually reschedules happen around this time, so we didn't really expect teams may have added what we said, and if you did, good job. But we're gonna go through every team, and we're gonna see what they need to add. And Ice Sniper did 2 leagues. I did 2 leagues, and it's both personal opinion. Maybe I'll chime in, and he'll chime in on mine. But we're gonna just focus separately on this, and let's get started. So the trade deadline preview. Let's go.
Yeah.
So starting with
let's
the queue.
go ahead. Let's start with the queue here. Starting off with the Titans, and just so everyone just knows, I'm going alphabetized by the team's city name. So, Acadie, Bathurst, Titans. I'm going to start with that and just go alphabetized. Starting with the Titans, Boogie. As we've touched on before, this is a great team. This is a team that I think could do some in the playoffs. They've had a little bit of a slow offensive output. I think that they just need to make some tweaks. What I'm looking at is I think they need to add some depth scoring and some top-line goal scoring. They've kind of struggled as of late putting the puck in the net, but, hopefully this weekend with Boogie, what he's going to do is he's going to make some key trades to bolster that lineup going into the playoffs. Going down to Armada, Armada having that tough season, one of the biggest things they've struggled with is special teams, the power play and the penalty kill. I mean, their power play is at 16.7. and their penalty kill is at 69.4. Not the very best out of special teams. So, I mean, I don't know what their chances are making playoffs, but at least they can try to do something, to make it an earnest attempt going into the end of the season. And I also think they need to find themselves a stud defenseman, which, hasn't been really something special for them on defense this season, hence how many goals they've given up. Going into Drakkar is a great team. But one of the things I've noticed they've lacked quite a bit is their power play. Special teams, a lot of the teams, you're going to see a theme here from what I've seen. Special teams has been a problem for a lot of teams that I've noticed, and Drakkar is no exception. This is a good team. Their power play isn't the very best, which is a shock for a team as good as they are. They're sitting at 18.6 on the power play, with all those chances, and going into the playoffs, special teams are very important. And with a team like Drakkar that's been put together, they got to figure out how to turn that around. Cape Breton, I've seen some great things coming out of Steel City. I think what's going to be really help them out, going into this trade deadline, they got to find themselves a go-to guy, a goal scorer, someone who they can count on to get that goal when they desperately need it. Steel City is a great goaltender. I think, for them, one of their biggest needs is Steel City needs to, stand on his head and just start stealing games, because that right there is going to really make them possibly a dangerous team to play in the playoffs.
Right.
So, and this is a team I think could be a dark horse. With those two things going into it, I think this is what they could do. The Islanders, they've had some pretty interesting games. They've had some very good offensive output. They just need some line bolstering from what I can tell, and they need help on the faceoffs. Believe it or not, these guys with their faceoffs, they're like one of the worst in the entire queue. They're not even at 50%. They're sitting at 47.4 on the faceoff percentage. So perhaps have some guys, bring in some guys that can win them those key faceoffs, because in those situations like that, especially on special teams, that's going to be crucial in the playoffs. Shakutami, again, special teams, but I think they need to go find themselves a goalkeeper that can steal them games. Somebody, like obviously Shots by Ryan can't do anything because he's a manager. They need to find somebody like him that can steal games. Drummondville, I have not seen a team that's really not have an established top line. They need to find themselves a stud top line, if they have any hopes of trying to, keep their playoff hopes alive, if they're, going into it, because the queue right now is starting to get very tight. And, if they can't find themselves a top line either, and they do make playoffs, they could easily be a first round knockout. The Olympics, this is a team that I think had high hopes going into the regular season. Now, they have a good team and a top line, but their second and third line, there's really nothing there. And the reason that is because they spent $7 million on Knife Vet. That's a lot of salary cap to hand around for a team. They need to find other means of offense than just one guy. Not to say that their players they have right now aren't good. It's just what they have in terms of chemistry and combination on the offense. There's really nothing there that's helping them win these games, and they've been losing a lot of key games. And, this is another team that I could see, exiting the playoffs early if they can't find anything other than knife fed to create offense. Halifax, looking at these guys, my biggest thing is for them, stop taking penalties. These guys have taken so many penalties. It is unbelievable. They had a guy a couple of games ago, I think, had 15 minutes in penalty minutes, and, it's stuff like that that's going to kill you, going into, if you're going to try to hold a playoff spot.
Yeah.
With Oceanic sitting right there, right on them at 47 points, Mooseheads are at 49. My biggest thing, stop taking penalties. The Wildcats, Swifty, you're probably going to hate me for this, but this is how I feel about the Moncton Wildcats.
Yeah, I disagree with both things, but anyways, continue.
My thing is, I think their goaltending needs to get hot. They've got great goaltenders. I feel they need to step up, especially with their defense. Their defense, when I played against them too, they've got a great team. If they can continue to play like they did against Sherbrooke, we could possibly see Moncton, be that really big surprise going into the finals again. I don't know if they'll make it to the finals again.
I don't think I'm catching anybody by surprise this time around.
Yeah, but if they can just get hot and find in their defense start playing the way they did against Sherbrooke, this is a team that definitely can surprise a lot of teams going in. Going to the Quebec Ramparts, they've had some inconsistency in net. Perhaps they need to go out there and see if they can find themselves a goalkeeper that needs to be more consistent. And, just like, with another team, find yourself a goalie that can steal some games, and then going with, the Noranda Huskies. Murder Boy, I played for him in the past. This is a guy, who can do stuff.
I couldn't agree more with that take there.
I think he needs to quit having a fire sale every week. They've changed so
well,
many
I think he's going to stop this week, it looks like, maybe.
I can't keep track of who plays for that team because every time I look at that team, I see another player. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? When did this happen? And I was with them for 1 week, and I was traded. And I don't know. I mean, it's not my place to say why I was traded, but that's how often people get traded. Like, they'll play 1 week, and they're gone.
But you can't do anything after this week, so you better get it right. Anyways,
exactly. And yeah. And going on with the Sea Pups, this is a team that can really do stuff. I think they can do better. They just need to tinker the line a little bit. Maybe find some players that complement the chemistry on the lines they've got. Shawinigan, this is a very good team. My biggest thing for them, I think they don't really need to do a whole lot. What I think they need to do is ride that hot streak going into the playoffs, because this is a team right now that's caught fire this week.
They got some players.
And they've got some guys that can do some damage. I think right now, don't do anything drastic. Keep what you got. Maybe make a change or two on the depth line. But just get hot. Keep on that hot streak. Sherbrooke, this is going to sound biased coming out of me, but, what I've seen, I've played for this team. We need depth lines that can steal games. This is a team that can really do stuff. This is a team that I think can go far. Not because I play for them, but I think also we need depth lines because our first true lines, can do stuff, but we need more out of our depth lines to steal games.
Right.
Going to Val-d'Or, there's been some inconsistency too. I played for this team too this season. Their second and third line.
He wasn't wrong at the beginning. If you guys are just tuning in, he said he literally played for almost all Q teams. So
it's not, you're not wrong, but they need some consistency out of the second and third line, and yes, they're sitting on top of their division, but they need to, get together going into the playoffs. Perhaps the trade will help that, wake some people up saying, hey, maybe you won't be on this team going to the playoffs. Who knows? Another team, looking at Victoriaville Tigers, with the way it's been ran by their owner, who's done a great job every season. They're in a slump right now. This is a team that needs to wake up. I know these guys are so much better because my team has struggled against these guys in the past, and they need to find themselves another goalkeeper. They've got a great goalkeeper right now who has been doing so much for them.
Right.
If they can find another goalkeeper that's been playing as good as, as their current goalkeeper, Trash Tender, they are going to be a team to watch out for. Other than that, another great season being put on by Rybish. Maybe just that one little thing. But with that being said, let's move on.
Yeah, just to reflect a little bit here. I agree with most things you said. I think the Titans, what their strategy is just to in a sense get healthy, but getting their DPs back and their big boys are back. So that's going to help them with their depth scoring. And
yeah,
I think you pretty much wrapped it up pretty well. So we'll move on here to the WHL, which I will handle. So I'm going to start with the Wheat Kings. The Wheat Kings, they have a lot of draft picks and a lot of call-ups. I think if they get one back, they'll be golden. Like Temply, for instance, he's currently up. If they can pray by some miracle that they get him back or another one back, call him up, they'll have a great offensive weapon. Next, the Hitmen. I look at their roster and I look at their offense and I think, wow, this is actually not that bad. I couldn't believe their current place in the standings. I looked at it and I said, wow. I think they need to add defenders, but I don't know if I think it's a little too late to make up so much ground. They're like, I think 20, 30 points behind. I think they may need a retool for next season. Maybe get some prospects on the team, take a look.
Perhaps sign some 2-season contracts, keep some of those key pieces, because that's a team that's very disappointing.
Right. I was kind of disappointed, to be honest. The Oil Kings, I think they need another big boy to complement Street Smurfs line. Get somebody out there. I don't know what's on the market, or I do, but I can't say. But to get somebody to complement him, maybe a Street Smurf light. That would help out the Oil Kings a lot in secondary scoring, and I think they can go out and do that. Everett, for the first time in a while, Juju finds himself in a playoff race. I think they need scoring and a backup goaltender.
Absolutely agree with that. 100% agree with that.
If they find a little bit of offensive punch, they can definitely find their way in the playoffs, and they need to stop the pucks. So the Blazers,
that's been their biggest struggle.
The Blazers, personally, this is just my personal opinion, right? So. You run your team the way you want, but I hate seeing my team with 5-6 left wings. From what I see playing, I rather have 3 left wings playing left wing. I like more balance to their roster would probably help. Get a center that could play center, get a right wing that could play right wing. Their primary positions. I think that would help a lot. It's a comfort thing. If you're not comfortable, some players have the ability to play out of position, but sometimes balance and getting a center to play center and a right wing that plays right wing helps you out a lot. The Rockets, they just need some defensive help. I think they got a good offense. They just need to shore things up on the blue line. Moving on to the Ice, I think they also need balance. I saw 5 left wings there. Didn't like what I saw. Balance is a thing for me. It's just my personal thing. If you guys have your own opinions, but for me, balance is important, and having 5 left wings is just not winning hockey for me. The Hurricanes, I say prospect in 2-year deals. I think when you know that it's going to be near impossible to make up the ground, and you're going to see this as a theme for my segments. I think you 100% should. I've never been in this position, but I think you should target 2-season contracts, whether it's DPs or players that are just on 2-year deals. And I think you should bring in people that you look at it and you just bring in prospects for scouting purposes. You don't necessarily need to play them. Maybe you play them and see how they do in LG. But I would bring in as many prospects new to LG as possible and trying to get them going. The Tigers, I think they need defense and goaltending. I look at it. They need to shore things up there. They got a good offense once again. They've added some players. They made a little bit of change last week, and now this week I think that's what they need to target. The Warriors, same situation. They find themselves last. I definitely believe they need to do the same as the Hurricanes. The Winterhawks, I just think they need a little tinkering. I think their team's pretty good. If you can upgrade, sure, but if you can't, then it's okay. They should be fine. I'm not panicking if I'm a Winterhawk manager. Moving on, Raiders. I think they need playoff big swag. He
Oh,
shows
yeah.
up in the playoffs, man. What do you want me to say?
He's a playoff warrior.
You know,
I mean, he just turns
just
it on
to
the right
touch
time of
on
year.
something. Last season with the Colts, you know, BK was harping on him in Game 7 against Niagara. I disagree. I thought that was one of his best games. I look at it, I don't know what he was talking about. He was throwing grenades. No, he was getting passes off, and he was in perfect defensive position. When the playoffs come around, Big Swag shows up. That's I call him the Game 7 swag, man. Anyways, Cougars. Moving on to the Cougars, tinkering. I think they should be happy with their roster too.
Absolutely. I mean,
they're first place. You got to be happy. You shouldn't blow up what works.
Right.
The Rebels, to me, they're one of my disappointing teams because I expected them, Mayors, to put on a better performance. I thought they'd have a more dynamic offense, but their defense needs a little bit of tinkering, a little bit of upgrading. Moving on to the Pats, upgrade where you can. Once again, they're another team. You expected them to be up there with Canada running the show, along with Sugar and Spicy. You know, they always build good teams, so they're where they should be. Just minor tinkering. Blades, I think they really need another offensive weapon. I told Broomball this last season. He agreed with me that going into the playoffs, they didn't have a superstar. I think they need to go find theirs. They need to go find theirs. And he finds himself in the same spot. If you can go find one, good job. If you can't, maybe you look internally. The Thunderbirds, I just think their star players need to start producing. They got good players. I think that's the most important thing. Sometimes you're in a tough position to upgrade, but if their star players step up, they can definitely make the playoffs and maybe make a push to move forward a little bit.
That's a team that just needs to wake up. You know, that's a team that can really do some damage. You know, but they need to start coming and performing because playoffs are right around the corner.
The Chiefs, I just think they need another forward. You know, like I said, they got a good team earlier. They're one of my dark horses, but adding another offensive weapon never hurts. Same with the Broncos. They need offensive help. I look at that team. They had a lot of cold players. I know the LG algorithm never really tells the whole story, but yeah, I just think they need an upgrade on offense. Americans, they're another team that's out of the playoffs, and the playoffs look very distant for them. So once again, you look at prospects, 2-season deals. And by the way, I say prospect and 2-season deals only if you're coming back. If you're not coming back, then maybe you just play players that want to play and just try to be the best manager you can be. But if you're not coming back, I don't know. But if you're coming back and you want to build a program, then you should probably look at prospects, 2-season deals. Get ready for next season. There's no shame in admitting where you've gone wrong and trying to fix it. And you can look forward to something, and you can look forward to next season too. The Vancouver Giants. This is a good one here. I had a healthy and awake Garbs. So last season in the playoffs, he fell asleep in a critical game. I think 5.
It was game 5.
It was game 5, and he had to be ECU'd. Moncton had a lot of breaks, but this season he needs to definitely show up and perform. And the Royals, they just need a little bit more defensive help. I think they did a good job in adding a few players last week, such as Dangology and Slime. They got better on offense, maybe get better on defense, and you'll find yourself locking it down. You need to help Ryan once in a while. And we'll move on next to the OHL. Ice Sniper, take it away.
Absolutely. So going to the OHL, we're gonna, like I said, alphabetize it. We're gonna start off with the Barrie Colts here. Barrie, it's a good team. It just needs offense to really step it up and produce. Not all their offensive players have really done what they've needed to do, especially this late in the season. Perhaps it's a chemistry issue. I'm not sure exactly what it is. I mean, they are right up there with the Bulldogs. This is a team I think that can definitely win the OHL East, but right now the offense is just not getting it done from what I've seen. I mean, they've won the last 4 games in a row, but if you look at how things have gone, in the last couple of weeks, they've had a couple of wins that, they should have had, but, just simply couldn't get it done. So, I mean, this offense just needs to find a way to stay consistent and keep on producing. Erie Otters, this is a team that just needs to stay consistent. Their penalty kill has not been the greatest. Looking at their statistics right here with the Erie Otters, it's really not that pretty. With the penalty kill right there, they're second to worst with up there with the Saginaw Spirit at a 69.7 on the PK. That is not good, especially, you know, this late in the season. It's just not something good. And this is a 4C team in the OHLS, and you have that poor of a penalty kill. That's got to change. I mean, if you can't get the puck out of the zone or kill off penalties, in key games, this is a team that could easily be a first-round knockout. Looking at Roland's team, the Firebirds, Roland finds a way to make a good team every season. However, they're in a slump right now, and I've talked to Roland about this. He agrees 100%. This is a team that's been in a slump. I think right now, he's been really, eyeing that President's Trophy, but right now, I think what he needs to focus on is just preparing his team for the playoffs and making a deep playoff push because, he just has a history of not really performing well in the playoffs, and I feel like this could be a good weekend for him to find the key pieces he needs. Looking at the Wall Storm, Grandpa, you've done a great job once again. The only thing I can say for you is just ride the hot streak. Keep that streak alive, and hopefully it carries over to the playoffs. I mean, that's a team that you probably should watch out for again. Hamilton, this is a great team, a real surprise for us, but the offense hasn't really been all there, as of late. It needs to continue to produce if they want to, hold on to that division. But I think this is a team that, can do more. Looking at the Kitchener Rangers, that first offensive line just needs some help. Maybe a key piece, maybe a trade, to really make that line more dangerous. Puck moving defenseman too. Now, I actually played with these guys in a drop-in game, against them, and I played them several times. And this is a defense that really turns the puck over a lot. I mean, with defense, you can't really afford, to have defensemen turning over the puck, making those really late decisions, lollygagging with the puck, not punching out of the zone. I mean, when I played against these guys, it was during warm-ups, about half an hour before an actual LG game time. It's just something they need to improve on. Looking at Kingston, Glemmy, being their goalie, he hasn't really been doing so well this season. He needs to really turn it on and, start playing some great goal in net. He hasn't won a lot of games, and he needs to get hot if they want to make the playoffs. Dardog, this is a guy I played with, a couple of seasons ago with Moncton. This is a guy I think that can really do stuff, but he needs to really step it up to help his team, hold on to that playoff spot if they want to get there. NHL referee, he needs to find his way on defense. He's just not been performing from what I've seen. And the team itself needs to really, wake up and play, because right now they are in a really tight race with the Oshawa Generals and the Ottawa 67s. The Generals are right behind with 1 point, and the 67s are 6 points out, catching up to them. Looking at Sir Mike's Knights, this is a team I think too that needs to trade for a really stud goalkeeper, because they've got a great goalkeeper. They've got Diabolic, and they need someone to help carry Sir Mike Knight. He's got a good team. They just need someone to really step it up and be the go-to guy for his Knights into the playoffs. Looking at the Steelheads, Sam Evilson needs to stay hot. They need to acquire a forward that can really do something for them, and they also need to find a really good defenseman to stay in the playoff hunt. Right now, it's just there's not really out there someone they can count on. Looking at the Ice Dogs, Ship Diesel, I played with him last season too with the Niagara Ice Dog. He's not been performing from my personal opinion. He hasn't really done what he needs to do. He just needs to find his game, and if he can, that team can actually do some damage again in the playoffs like they did last season. But their depth obviously needs some work on their depth lines, so they need to find some depth scoring. Looking at the Owen Sound, it's me. Beta needs to step up and lead that line to wins. He hasn't really done a whole lot as an owner. That entire team really needs a leader, and they haven't really found that as of late. The depth defense, they really need that to address that, and the offensive production. And they haven't really established, as I mentioned here, a first and second line. There's really not a first and second line. It's just been inconsistency with the lineups they keep going into every week. Looking at the North Bay Battalion, this is a team that I don't think really needs to make a lot of changes. Maybe just find some strong playoff performers and just finish the season strong. This is a team that we usually see in the playoffs every year, no matter what owner it is. This is a team that finds a way to perform in the playoffs, but just a little tinkering here and there. And this is a team again that I think could do something in the playoffs. Oshawa, their power play has not been the greatest. That power play, it's going to be key for them, going in, because they have the worst power play in the OHL entirely. A staggering 13.9. They have scored 14 power play goals out of 101.
Ooh.
That is horrific.
That's not
good. That's not good at all. That's not good enough. And they are right now in a race with Kingston and the Ottawa 67s. They are 1 point away from, battling with Kingston. But even if they do make playoffs, you're going to be out very quickly if you don't have a power play that can, take opportunities of bad penalties, which we all know it's going to happen. Going on from there, the Ottawa 67s, this is a team too that could take advantage of Kingston not playing well right now, as I mentioned on Glimmy, needing to step up in net. If the 67s could find a way to outplay Kingston and start taking advantage of their slump and upgrade some of their centers on the faceoffs and, upgrade their special teams, they may find a way to sneak into the postseason, and Kingston or Oshawa could find themselves looking out, looking in. So we'll see what happens. Peterborough Petes, this is a great team. Absolutely great offense and great defense. Backup goaltenders, not so much. Oxy has been great for them all season long. He's been carrying that team when they need it the most. And unfortunately, they haven't had anybody to really, complement him in the secondary. But if they can really find a goalkeeper that they can trust to go into the playoffs, this is a team that can really do something. Because Oxy, 27-3 in goal.
Oxy's a stud.
He's an absolute stud. And their backup goalie is C-Dub, 2-1.
That's another stud.
Perhaps, C-Dub is a great goalkeeper, like you just said, but
maybe somebody different level. Yeah.
Yeah.
When he first got to Moncton last season, he underperformed a bit. I was kind of disappointed. Yeah. I expect a lot more, but he changed the scene. Maybe he was messing with me. I don't know. Changed the scenery. He definitely took off. So
yeah, like you said, he hasn't been performing. He's lost to the Owen Sound. He's lost to Sarnia Sting. They need this guy to step it up and.
Or maybe Hambino slides back in net. I don't know why he's playing forward still. I haven't seen his stats, so I can't confirm.
Yeah.
But maybe he slides back in net. You never know. He's a game stealer.
Absolutely. That's my big thing for the Peterborough Petes.
Yeah. Let's move forward to your favorite team.
Saginaw, I'm going to say this out loud. I know it's a little harsh, but Saginaw, I hate to say it, you're fucked.
First swear word, I think, right there. Fuck. Yeah. They are fucked. I'm sorry, PVM, but you gotta say, I feel bad for, let me just take over a little bit here. I feel bad for the Spirit management because PG too. Reaper should have stayed the whole season and owned it. He built that team. He should have. Well, place. A couple seasons ago he made the playoffs. But
and I play for him too, though. But he's not a guy that is consistent as an owner to make playoffs, and he sometimes nudges people the wrong way, and he's had some fallout with his other management. And this season is a pure prime example of that. And now he's basically handed the ropes to a team that's not prepared.
What are you gonna do?
And my advice is to the owners who have took over. They need to gain experience, and tremendous achievement to them. They've been in a slump. They finally managed to win a game, but my advice is to you guys, this is a great opportunity for you guys to see what's out there in the CHL. You guys can really get ahead early and start scouting.
Right.
And maybe the teams you see right now and players you play with, maybe this is a guy you want to look out for in the bidding next season. My strongest advice is, take it all in, see what obviously didn't work, and learn from the mistakes of your previous management.
Right.
Go from there. That's my biggest thing. Other than that, I'm sorry, like I said, there's nothing really much you can do. Moving on, the Windsor Spitfires, Snipe Show's team, they need to find some offense.
Definitely.
They need something, because this is a team too that is kind of going in and out of the playoffs, but they also definitely need some help with the centers, because when you look at their face-off percentage, they have 45.8 on the face-off percentage. Keep in mind, that is third to dead last with Saginaw Spirit. That is not good enough going into playoffs. Yes, it's good enough maybe for them to make playoffs, but without any, danger of Owen Sound and the Saginaw Spirit maybe challenging for a playoff position, but still, this is another team that could be easily a first-round knockout if they can't find themselves some more offense and a center that actually can win faceoffs consistently when they need it most. Sarnia Sting, Lord Solo, this guy needs to get hot and goal.
Check if they traded him. I'm not sure.
This guy, this guy hasn't really done quite as much in the late. Their depth scoring really needs some help in the secondary. They've got a great team. This is a team also that can go into the playoffs and do some damage.
They can do Moncton-like things, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. The Greyhounds, my biggest thing with you guys got to keep your head above water. I know that Owen Sound is right all the way down there at 35 points, but if you guys can find a way to start winning and get the wins that you need the most out of your second and third line, you guys can definitely find yourselves going into the playoffs. But as of right now, I would definitely do some shopping to see what you can find to upgrade, your defense, because that's right now that might be the difference between you making and not making playoffs. And last but not least, the Sudbury Wolves, ADOTS. This is a guy, I don't understand why he's been playing out of position as of late. He's been playing forward, he's playing defense, but
as a manager, you do what you got to do. You got to do what you got to do.
And this is the point I was going to make too. He needs to focus on being a goalkeeper and use this weekend to find some depth pieces that he needs rather than, playing out of net. So we'll see what happens, but I definitely think they need to find some more depth players so ADOTS can definitely focus on that, because one of the worst things that can happen is if you don't have those pieces you need and you go into playoffs and you have to play out when, your best position is goalkeeper, this could be the difference of, winning a key game in the series. But, if ADOTS can find the pieces he needs and focus on, getting those wins in the last couple of weeks of the season, this is another team that can really have a strong showing in the playoffs. And that's what I got for the O. So
yeah, great job.
Yeah,
definitely. There's some top teams in the O that can make a run. The Colts, Guelph, Sting. Maybe they add a few pieces. I would say a few of these teams, Flint, I think they got to load up a little bit. Maybe this is their chance. This is their opportunity this season. Every season you got to go for it. So let me move on here. ECHL, it's not that depth. There's only 16, so it won't take as long. Americans, like I said before, Croxy and Jet, just got to find their magic. I think they got the team. They got the players. I think they just need to sprinkle a little bit of magic, and they'll do it again. They did it multiple times. Both of them. They find their way.
Time they can't find it.
Dude, they'll find it. They'll find it. I have 100%. I think Atlanta needs to upgrade on left D. The right side strong. I think they got a good offense. I just think a left defense addition, anything really. I think they'll be stronger. The Brampton Beast, they have a good group of guys. They don't really need to make trades. I think maybe upgrade on right wing. Stand pat. I talked to Vinny the other day. He said they've had like 2 TCs used the whole season. So they don't have guys that miss games, and that's incredible. They should be very proud of what they've done. Cincinnati.
Absolutely.
Cincinnati, I just think they need to upgrade on defense. Once again, Palm Top, second time mentioning him. you know, they he's their guy right now, but maybe if you can add a guy to support him, someone better, someone more established, I think definitely you guys can do something in the playoffs. Florida, I think they need a defensive upgrade too. The offense, you look at it, they got Beauty, they got Pigs.
Oh, it's a dominant.
Yeah, they just need to shore up the D, and they're going to be virtually unstoppable, in my opinion.
Yeah, because like I said too earlier in the show, this could be a clash of titans, in the ECHL with Florida playing, the Mavericks. So let's see what happens.
And by the way, I just want to also touch on something. The reason for I haven't put like you should scout or you should do this or you should get 2 seasons for any of these teams is because they're all clinched. So like, why not? You got like you're all in the playoffs now. You might as well do something, right? Like
go crazy.
Yeah, go like upgrade where you can. Get players that you can. You're in the playoffs already. Everybody's going to be playing at least 4 games in the playoffs.
You've got nothing really to lose here.
Yeah, this is your season. This is it. Let's move back on to Greenville here though. Backup goaltender, they need to get better there. The guy's cold. And if they got somebody else, they would get going. Jacksonville, I think they need forward help. Their offense has been lacking lately. Adding some punch never hurts anybody. Going to get a player that could put it in the back of the net, score big goals in big times. Definitely, I believe that would help them. Kansas City, I like their roster. I don't think they need to do much. Just TC depth. Maybe get a guy just in case somebody's out for the play, like a couple of weeks, maybe a week. You can get some TC depth in.
And to touch on that too, speaking of TC depth, to new owners in this season, who are potentially making playoffs, this is a very key lesson to learn, because if your roster players cannot make it, or maybe something comes up where they can't make it, TC depth can definitely help you along the way to make those deep playoff pushes. So just because you have a great roster ready to go, that who are your regular guys, it's always best to have some TC players you can count on, because those guys can be the difference between winning and losing a series.
Okay, moving on to Maine. I think they need a little bit more scoring. I like their team overall. They got a really balanced team. They're pretty good in the standings, so adding some punch, you never know. Orlando, I look at their defense, definitely need upgrade. I like some of their players on offense. You look at a guy like Haffey, veteran guy in the league. He can win you games. Just upgrade on D, get somebody. Reading, I'm reading Reading. I think it's Reading. They say the Reading Royals. So
it's Reading Royals.
Retool. I say retool instead of 2C. Like you can go both ways with it and maybe focus on next season too. But you're in the playoffs now. Retool. Try rejigging the lineup a bit. Make a put. Be competitive. Be respectable. It's not too late to turn your season around. It's never too late, especially when you have a playoff berth clinched, and you never know. Something could happen. I'm seeing things like, they're not the best team, but you're in the playoffs. Just be respectable. When you're in the playoffs, make yourself look good. You're going to be featured. South Carolina, I think they just need some defensive help. I like their offense. They've been done a really good job. I played them the other day. They compete. They get shots on goal. They have good goaltending. Everything's there. What I say about Toledo, this is going to be a pretty hot take here. Maybe not. Yeah. I just think they need a little bit of accountability.
Get your popcorn ready, boys.
Yeah. I think they need accountability in that locker room. You got guys running wild. I've heard things from Wizza today actually about what goes on over there. I'm not going to get into any details, but you had Lonzo, and then you transfer over to throwing, and throwing put in a tough spot. But you got players over there. FIFA's running wild in the shout box. You're putting expectations on. And when I say accountability, you guys are putting expectation on yourself. There's no upside to putting expectation going in that shout box and saying, we're going to beat this team. We're going to win the Mem Cup. That, to me, that just adds expectation. And you look at a guy like Swede. Okay, he goes into the shot box saying he'll play anybody, and look at him. Like he got banned for second tagging, and he hasn't showed up since. I just got a friend request. Rip. Anyways, yeah. So definitely accountability. get some guys in there, maybe get a strong leader. Utah, I think they need a number one center. I think getting that number one guy is very important for your team, for your depth. Just to have somebody you can rely on, lean on. They need one of those. Wheeling, I like their wingers. Once again, down the middle to me is the most important position.
Yeah.
So having two centers and adding a defenseman definitely would help their case. And Worcester, I don't know.
Worcester. It's actually Worcester.
Whoa, wow, I got it wrong. Not surprised. Canadian here, if you can't tell by now. Lefty and a number one center. Simple as that. They've traded away. I just saw they traded away their biggest fish. I didn't agree with the trade, but
it is what it is.
They definitely need to add those two things to get better. And that wraps up the ECHL. Oh my god. Oh god.
What happened?
Boy. Oh, Saucerman's now getting on stream. That's great. Anyways, oh boy.
Yeah,
please, guys, don't do that.
Don't
boy.
do that.
That's too late. You know what? Just nothing bad, or else,
Yeah.
Anyways,
But actually, speaking of trades, since you brought this up, with trades that just went through, so far I have seen a lot of activity from a lot of the Q teams, but not so much out of the W. So I don't know if it's just because they need trades to be approved by the Bogs, or they're just kind of waiting and seeing what happens. But definitely by far the most busiest team I have seen is Drakkar. Shawinigan has been very, very busy from trades I've seen.
Since
the Greyhounds have been very busy themselves. A lot of trades in the past 24 hours.
Since we're off the rails a bit here, just got a message from Sir Mike Knight saying, "Welcome to my life." That's okay. It's all good. It's just first show. There's bound things happen. I'll try and make sure it doesn't happen again. Well, maybe it's fun for the audience. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe it'll show up it'll be like a Twitter kind of thing.
That's okay.
It is what it is.
Yo, that'd be pretty cool just to have people message in, but stay on side or else,
Yeah, we don't want somebody dropping some certain words that shouldn't be.
Anyways,
shown.
My final comment on the ECHL, definitely, you're all in the playoffs. I think it's anybody's conference still. You have the top teams, but I think it's still anybody's league. You definitely need to load up and give it a shot. I think it's time to go, because next season it may not be like this, or maybe it'll be like this, but you never know. I think it's time to go.
Yeah.
Anyways,
and also to touch on that as well, I'm really excited to see how playoffs are going to go with this, since everyone's made it. And I think it's going to be very interesting going forth, with players in this league who have yet to show what they can prove in LG. This is their chance, and hopefully they can put on a good show for everybody.
All right. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of messages now because I responded to Mike's. This is why I didn't want to do it. But anyways, oh well. In the final segment, now we're introducing it's a little gig. It's called Thumbs Up or Thumbs Down. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to throw a hot take out, and you're either going to say thumbs up, you agree, or thumbs down, you don't. So we're going to start with Ice Sniper. What's your first take?
Well, my first take is this. Last year with Moncton, this was a low seed team making it into the finals. My question is, with thumbs up and thumbs down, will we see a low seed team like we saw last season make the finals? Oh, thumbs up or thumbs down?
This is a tough one for me to answer here. I think thumbs up. I'm an optimist and a pessimist, both. So, but I'm an optimist when it comes to LG. I think anything could happen in the playoffs. You saw my team last season. Things break your way sometimes. A lot broke my way, and then I ran into the wall. And that was probably the greatest CHL franchise of all time. It happened, but definitely thumbs up. I think we can see it again.
Yeah, touching on that, I think it can happen because, like Karoxy just said in our stream chat right here, it always happens. We see crazy things happen, And, a couple of seasons ago when I was playing with Barry, we were predicted to be a first-round knockout, and then we ended up going all the way up to the fourth round, losing out to the Oshawa Generals. So we'll see what happens.
Right.
I say thumbs up. It can happen.
All right. So we're going to move on to my take here. Thumbs up or thumbs down? We will see this season an 8th seed or a low or like a bottom seed in the playoffs. We will see a bottom seed in the playoffs knock out the first seed. Thumbs up or thumbs down?
Ooh. With how everything has panned out, that's really tough to say, If anybody had a chance to do that, I think it would be the Victoria Royals. So I'm going to go thumbs up on this. Because a team like that has a hot goalkeeper and can turn it on late in the season, I could definitely see this happening, and I think it will happen this playoffs. I'm going to go thumbs up on this one.
Apparently, you've been traded. I'm being told. This could be misinformation.
No, it's actually true. I actually just got a notification on my phone.
Oh, boy.
And actually...
Mid-show trade, boys. The trade deadline. Look at that.
And I actually been traded to Drummondville, so shout out to Pete. Thanks for having me in Sherbrooke
and
for
shout out
2 weeks.
And shout out to Ice Sniper's new owner. New
Who
management, I should say. Now? I think it's the Palps and Wannabe Cali. So congratulations to them for winning the Ice Snipers sweepstakes.
Woo!
Anyways.
Hold on a minute, too. Maybe they actually were listening to me midstream because I said they needed a stud top line.
Oh, boy.
I'm just leaving it there.
Boy, okay. Anyways, let me touch on this. Thumbs down. It's not going to happen. It never does. It's really rare. I don't think it's going to happen. But, I like Victoria once again. You could be right about that. They have a stellar goaltender that's been stealing games, but I just can't see him stealing 4 in a row against the first seed. Anyways, moving on to your next take. What is it?
This one, I think everyone's going to like. We all know Roland J. We love the guy. This guy makes playoffs every year. But here's a burning question. Since it is technically he said it is his last season.
His final season, everybody. The 3rd time he's posted it's his final season.
The question is, will Roland J get over the hump? Thumbs up or thumbs down?
Now, this is a question we got to dissect a little bit. Is the hump the 2nd round, the 3rd round, winning the Mem Cup? If it's getting past the 2nd round, definitely thumbs up. I think he can do it. He's got the players. He's in a weaker conference. I think he can get past the 1st, 2nd, and then the 3rd will be a lot difficult for him. But the third round is where it gets a little sketchy. The finals, it's going to be very difficult. Any team that comes out of that Eastern Conference is going to be difficult. But will Roland J get over his personal hump? Oh, there we go. I got an invite from my my GM there. But I think he'll get over the hump this season. Thumbs up.
Here's the thing with Roland J. This is a guy that, he has done some good stuff as management. He's served, the Flint Firebirds. Everybody on his team loves him. They are begging him to come back. I've heard this multiple times from Roland J. and the people who've played for Flint. And with the hump that he's had in the past, he hasn't had a deep playoff success, beyond the 2nd round. The question is, can he get there? With, the way, looking at some of the teams he's played this season, and, I have some concerns about this late slump he's had. And I kind of question, is this a team that can make a deep playoff push? Because I've heard Roland J say in the past that, we've played some weak teams in the O, but they've had trouble against the Sarnia Sting. That's a big team that they could potentially play in the playoffs. I know another one, Nutty Grandpa. That's another demon that they may have to face in those deeper rounds.
Right.
And Nutty Grandpa is a force to be reckoned with. So in this case, I love you, Roland J, but I got to go thumbs down this one. I don't think he will get over the hump this season. Maybe later in his career, maybe.
So one of our viewers just chimed in, my good friend Glex, and he says thumbs up. Anyways, moving on. My question here, I said we were going to focus on the players and the games being played, but maybe I'll mix in a question here and there. The question is, will there be a major second tagging bust this season? Thumbs up or down, thumbs down. Another one. There's been one already. Another one.
Oh, man. Here's the real question. When was the last time there was not a second tag controversy in the playoffs? Do you remember last time?
Last season, I don't think we saw one. I think it was the first time in a long time nobody's really been busted in the playoffs. Yeah. Like Owen Sound had their controversy, but it had nothing to do with second tagging. So last season was actually the first time it was clean.
Yeah, I mean, we all remember the we all definitely remember McNasty with the Sea Pups long time ago in season 26. He had his controversy. We had Gatineau a couple of seasons ago that nothing happened until like after they were knocked out of the playoffs. In this situation, because it's playoffs, there's always that guy out there that's got to ruin it for everybody. I'm going thumbs up. There's always going to be that one team that's going to try to pull something. And, the real question is, who is it? And the question is, how soon will they be caught? Will they be caught after they go on to the playoffs? Or will it be after they're knocked out of the playoffs? That's the real question we should be asking.
All right. I'm going to counter that with a thumbs down. I think nobody's going to get caught this season. I think nobody's
going to get caught, but because they were smart about it,
yes,
or because they're playing
either they're
clean.
smart about it, or they're playing clean. I think people are a little bit. There's more respectability in the league than I think there has been in a while, and the people obviously that have been doing this are out right now, or known for doing this, or known that could do this are out. So I personally I believe the league's gotten a lot cleaner. But at the same time, there's ways around it. So, I like me personally, I'm a guy of integrity. I'd like to think everybody has integrity. If I have a second tag on my team, it's getting reported. So I'm gonna definitely go thumbs down on this. I have faith in people.
Yeah. Well,
I'm being too optimistic.
I mean, Sir Mike Knight was accused of DDoSing. I mean, I don't know. You never know. I mean, we've had Sir Mike Knight, a very interesting character in LG for a long time, has been accused of DDoSing. So. You never know. Snakes, usually
oh boy.
Seen.
Anyways.
I'm just kidding, Mike.
What's your next question with Ice?
Here's my question. We've had a lot of talent come in the CHL putting out stupid amount of points. Making the 100 points, but here's my thing. Will a player this season break the 100-point barrier? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Now, keep in mind, the two players right now that are actually within range, right now, have a roughly 70. I'm just pulling it up really quick just so I get this correct.
I think it's 70.
It's 72 and 71. It's Street Smurf with the Edmonton Oil Kings, and it's HTZ Nasty of my now former team Sherbrooke, who sits at 71 points.
Yeah. Okay. So this is gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough for somebody to break that mark. I thought we'd have a lot more people up there, to be honest.
Yeah, a lot of teams right now a lot of players are sitting at either 60 or 50. There's not really standing out.
Thumbs up, because Waxy's a nice guy and he's gonna let Street Smurf do his thing against not so great teams. I'm not gonna say the word, but he's gonna play some very difficult competition, quote unquote.
And Waxy just basically said that he's gonna be feeding Smurf. So are you saying by feeding Smurf by letting him scrub hunt, or are you actually?
Well, he just confirmed to us, so the segment is now dead, because Street Smurf is gonna probably crack 120 now because he's
right.
Okay. He blew up the segment.
Right? With me, segment. I'm going to go thumbs down on this one. I'm going to go thumbs
Everybody,
down.
Throw your top line at Edmonton.
and here's why I'm saying this. Because it is now becoming more... I think there's more depth in the league now for this season. I'm not saying it's going to be like this permanently. But this season, there hasn't been a whole lot of standout guys. Every team has had a very good line. A lot of teams are really carrying each other. Like the Edmonton line has been doing really good. But I remember last time we had someone who was really killing it was Pigs on Jupiter. and he was putting up stupid points.
Oh, yeah.
And here's what's crazy. He now has 61 points, and he's with the Everblades.
Yeah,
so if you've got a guy like that who was putting up that many points, a couple of seasons ago, and now he's at barely punching the 70 mark, makes me wonder. This is why I'm going thumbs down. I don't think that it's going to happen this season, but like Sir Mike Knight always says, prove me wrong.
Right. And the final question for thumbs up or thumbs down. It's one that hits home for maybe a few of you. My take is the Doghouse has done a good job providing LG media the last couple of seasons. Thumbs up or thumbs down?
Wow. With a show like that being on for so long and, being as entertaining as it is, how can you not go thumbs up on this?
Yeah.
I mean, this is a show
100%.
That's been entertaining. We've seen some very crazy stuff go on that show.
Right.
We've had controversy. We've had some very entertaining guests. And so
Right.
Mike Knight, with having that passion to, put on a show every season. What is it? Beyond 10 seasons?
Maybe he'll come on one day. Maybe he'll come on one day and break down the Doghouse for us.
You never know. I mean, the magic that he's put on for that season, I was fortunate enough to be a guest on the show, despite the fact I was probably one of the most hated guys ever to go on that show, other than Snipe Show.
People don't hate Snipe Show. They just goof on him a bit, but I think nobody hates Snipe Show.
Yeah.
Nobody really hates the guy.
I'm saying hate on the show because of the guest is what I'm saying.
You gotta have the controversial figures on. I understand where you're coming from.
They just do it because they're jealous is all it is. But, a huge shout out to Sir Mike Knight putting on a great media content, for LG for so many years. It's not going to be the same without having the Doghouse in LG.
So you're a thumbs up?
How can you not go thumbs up?
All right.
It's going to be a thumbs up.
So for me personally, I'm a thumbs up, of course. Come on. Anyways, thumbs up. And let me say a few things. Paul and I, Captain Paul, we had a podcast back in the day. And it was short-lived. We had a few episodes recorded. It just never happened. I guess the passion died. But this time, I promise, we will have a show going forward. But, we did a podcast on the Doghouse, and obviously, there's some things.
I think the catchphrase in the show was "RIP."
Yeah, it was called the RIP podcast, and we goofed on them a bit for 2 shows. And, looking back on it, probably wasn't the right way to go about things. We should have probably focused on what we're focusing about now. But the Doghouse has been the only staple. And it was pointed out to me in the chat just now. The Doghouse has been the only staple in LG CHL media consistently.
Absolutely.
You had Pastor Gaines's The Insider, I think it was short-lived.
Yep, you had that.
It's gone. The Meower, it was short-lived as well. My podcast wasn't media official, but it was short-lived. You had a lot of shows come in, and definitely the Doghouse has been a staple. And you know what? It's the final season, and to be honest with you, we should support it. We should lift it up. You could say, oh, the effects going in are the same, and it's tough. It's tough to do a show. It's tough to put things together. And
really is.
Mike has been powering through, and I think we got to give him the credit he deserves. And so I'm definitely a thumbs up for sure.
Yeah, I mean, touching on that too, with all the media that he has done, it's not going to be the same in LG. It's not going to be the same. I mean, sure, it'll never die. The memories will never die. But I think Sir Mike Knight should every once in a while maybe do a special occasion, just do a show. Perhaps we'll see it, perhaps not.
Maybe once in a while. I think he's gonna do a little. I forget what it's called. I looked at it the other day. He did a little news segment. It was actually pretty funny. It was like a minute long. It's like Mike's Minute or something.
No. He was doing the nightly news.
Nightly news. Yeah. That's what it's called. It was actually pretty good.
I liked it.
Yeah, it was pretty good. And maybe he can live on that way, or maybe he could be on some shows once in a while. But he's done a good job, and Doghouse comes to a close, and he's been fired up lately, and it's gonna be a good
at least
season.
when Sir Mike Knight uses the nightly news. At least he actually doesn't have to fake a desk like somebody in the AHL whose name will not be said.
Oh boy. I don't even know who you're talking about, to be honest. I have not looked at the AHL forums ever.
You don't know who has the the fake desk?
Nah, maybe I'll learn now, but anyways.
I think everyone knows who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The fake desk.
I think it's time to wrap things up here. Thank you for watching, everyone. I appreciate it. I can't believe some of the viewership we have right now, to be honest. It's crazy.
Unbelievable.
Have you seen these numbers?
Yeah, I know.
We got featured, so that helps, right? Obviously,
yeah, but still,
crazy numbers. I can't believe this.
We appreciate you guys tuning in.
I think we peaked at 110. I'm not sure. Maybe it's higher. Somebody can point it out. We had some criticism too. Maybe the slides can be a little bit better. Karoxy, that's fine. If you guys have suggestions and if you guys want us to fine tune things, definitely. I'm not like I'm not a perfectionist, but like I want things to be free flowing. Obviously, I'm not gonna speak fluently or ice sniper, but there's a few things like the count. I saw somebody suggest a counter. We say way too much, but at least it's better than we avoided that completely.
Yeah,
I think. Well, there was some ums and ahs, but also I just did it right there. But
right.
But whatever, it's gonna slip out. You can't be perfect the whole time.
No.
The PowerPoint definitely improvement. I need to work on, obviously, not notifications not popping up on stream.
Well, maybe it's a blessing in disguise. Maybe it's something that
it's the first episode. You got to work things out here, and definitely.
Yeah.
If you guys have any feedback, let me know. If you guys have any suggestions, maybe we should do things a little bit differently. Drop it below when we post it on this on the forums. Yeah,
maybe some questions we can ask for thumbs up or thumbs down. There might be something.
And I want to get more involved with it. I tried to stay away from the chat. I'm going to try being a little bit more involved with the chat because we're going to re-upload this and people are going to see it. So
right.
And they're going to be like, what are you talking about? But I'm going to try being detailed what the comments say. And if you have anything interesting perspective, I'm watching. But overall, I think it was a good first show. Good job, Ice, and.
Yeah, same to you. And thank you to all the viewers we had this evening. And thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week.
And this was episode 1, the pilot of the No Thumbs podcast. Thanks for watching, everybody.